Yo, what's up? I'm gonna be giving a tier list on the weapons in Dark and Darker. This is something I haven't seen like really nobody do. Maybe I haven't looked for it, but I'm gonna be giving my opinion with my like 1,000 hours of gameplay on what tier the weapons belong in. You guys let me know in the comments if you agree with me, disagree. Let me know what's up, what you think, if I misplaced one of the weapons. But I'm gonna be here talking about what I think about all these weapons. So at first, I think I'm gonna start putting like the ones that I think are really good for every class. For sure, for Wizard, I think the spellbook is pretty good. I'm gonna put it in S tier just because I don't think that there's another casting weapon that is the best. I don't think there's definitely one that's better than this one. It doesn't do a whole lot of magic damage like the staff, but because it's quick, it's really useful. Let's move on. I think that the arming sword is probably another one of the best weapons in the game, at least for the fighter. I don't know, not so much for the ranger, but for the fighter, the arming sword is going to be really goated. Let's see what other weapons we got that I can think of that are like, yeah, that's the one. I think also War Maul, I'm gonna probably put it up here in A. Mind you, all of this is for PvP. I'm talking about PvP mainly. I will talk about a little bit of PvE. My mind frame is set to PvP for this weapon tier list. I'm thinking, yeah, the spellbook with the quick casting speed is going to be an S tier weapon. The arming sword, because you get to, it's one of the quickest weapons that you get to slash. That's the sword for the fighter. The War Maul gets to be used by the cleric and the barbarian, and the armor pen makes it really good though. It's pretty easy to block. You can see these shots coming from a mile away. The falchion, I'm probably going to put around, I'm like really mixed with C or B because it does high damage, but it's another one of these that you can see it coming from a mile away. Since you can see it coming from a mile away, we're gonna put it in C. The hatchet is another one that I feel like is like mixed here. It's definitely not one of the better ones, but I've seen it work. One I can just off the top just say that it's probably one of the worst PvP weapons. It's probably the ceremonial staff. I like never see anybody using it. I'm gonna go ahead and just put that there. The crystal ball, I'm gonna put in B because it has quick casting speed, but it makes you slow. The movement speed penalty, I'll put it, or I have mixed feelings about it. I'm gonna put it on B. It has magic pen, so that makes it pretty good. Let's see what other weapons can I think of that are pretty decent. Me myself, I use a longsword a lot, and I can tell you guys that it's probably, I'm not gonna be biased, it's not the best PvP weapon. It's really good for clearing. It's really good for clearing like mobs and stuff, because you know those guys are way more predictable on where the slashes are coming from. So you can kill the mobs and the bosses with the riposte pretty easily. So I'm gonna put that B tier. It's definitely not S tier, A tier. It's not the best, but I don't think that it's the worst. This one is gonna be completely biased for me. This is another one I never really see anybody using it. I think I've seen more people use it than the ceremonial dagger, so I'm gonna put it in E. It's definitely not one of the best ones. It's very slow and it does around the same damage as the arming sword, but for, you know, a quicker attack, I'll just take the arming sword any freaking day over the Viking sword. I almost never pick these out. The spear is going to be the spear is going to be A class. The spear is pretty good. I've seen a lot of druids use it, the rangers use it, and they definitely do doink me with it, and they kill me with it. I'm gonna put, like the longsword, I'm gonna put Zoe in B tier. Zoe's not bad. It does high damage. It has long reach, but you can also see this coming from a while away. So I'm gonna put that in B. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It could be better. It's all really down to skill. With the longsword and the Zoe, I think it really just comes down to skill. It's not they're bad, but it's how you use them. The Rondel dagger, I'm gonna put in S tier. It's probably one of the best rogue weapons, one of the best weapons that you can incorporate in a build. You know, they got the fighter with the Rondel build going around. I think the wizards can use it. I don't play wizard a lot, so I couldn't say 100%, but yeah, the Slayer fighters use them, the rogues use them. It's definitely one of the best daggers, if not the best. The survival bow, I'll put survival bow I'm gonna put it around the D class, and I'll move this to, I'll move the hatchet to D because I actually see people using the falchion and the survival bow way more than I see them using the hatchet. The reason I put survival bow in C is because it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Although it is quick, it can be really good. It's not going to kill you instantly like some of these other weapons will. The windlass, I'm definitely gonna put in A class. As long as you got good aim, that thing is finna kill you, hands down. The loot as a weapon, I'm gonna put around E. I've really only seen people use this as a meme. Like, I've seen people use it, but like never have I really seen anybody, especially in a high tier lobby, anybody use it to kill anyone. So I have seen people use it, although it's just kind of a meme when they do. The rapier, I think the rapier is another one of the ones that's gonna go up here in the A class. It's definitely one that gets used a lot, and it, being that it gets used a lot, obviously I think that it's pretty good. I don't use it a lot myself, but with the bard and even the rogue, I know that it's really useful. It has a little bit more reach than the daggers for the rogue, so they tend to use it. And the bard even has the perk that gives you extra damage for using it. Let's keep going. The longbow, I'm gonna put around, I'm gonna put A tier. I don't think that it's the one of the best weapons because it's slow unless you're a ranger that has, like, you know, the quicker action speed to shoot the bows and everything. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that one though, but yeah, the longbow I'm gonna put around A. I don't think it's one of like the super awesome weapons, but that just might be my bias because I suck with it. But you know what, here, we'll put longbow up there, we'll put longbow on S tier. I'll put crossbow on A tier on par with the windlass, because if you can hit your shots, it definitely does way more damage than the bows. And they're not bad. They're not bad in the PvE setting. They're not bad in the PvP setting. I'm gonna put the hand crossbow in B tier for the reason that it doesn't do that much damage and it has a lot, like a long reload time. It does take a little bit longer to set up than just firing another bow shot. I'm mixed. Should I put it in C or B? I'm actually kind of mixed with this one. I'll put it here. Maybe I'll move this one up here. I don't see the recurve. I see survival, I see longbow. I haven't assigned recurve and I don't see it. But the recurve would go on here on par with the survival bow, I'm pretty sure. I don't think anyone would have too many problems. Like, yes, it does more damage, but it is a little bit slower. It's like in the middle. It's in the middle of the longbow and the survival bow as far as damage goes and everything. So maybe I would put it in here in A tier. It's pretty good. The mace, I'm gonna definitely put this one on B tier. You can see that thing coming from a mile away. It does do okay damage, and the like the hitbox is so particular on the mace and the Morningstar. You have to hit it with the tip or else you get like no damage at all. If you're good with it, you can make it work. These are like the B tier. If you're good with it, you can make it work. A tier, if you're good with it, you're killing like almost anybody. The S tier is definitely, you need skill to use these weapons, but these are probably the best ones in the game. That's how I'm going right now. F tier, I don't see anybody using. E tier, I've seen people use it, but not really. A little bit more than E tier, I've seen people use it. I've seen people use it, but it doesn't always really work. That's how I'm gonna go with this. The felling axe is definitely going on the S tier. Felling axe PvP barbarians are one of the hardest thing to deal with for me, and I'm probably not the only one. They get up in your face and it's really hard to get away from that. The double axe, although this is one of my favorite barbarian weapons to use when I do play barbarian, I'm gonna put the double axe in the B tier, as well as with the battle axe. I personally do prefer the battle axe a little bit more, but I feel like they're roughly around the same, really. The only difference really is that the battle axe does a bit more damage. I'll put it in A. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's the worst weapon that the barbarians have. I'm gonna put this one. So I see a lot of people use these right in the C class. I see them using it, but it doesn't always really work. The horseman's axe is gonna go up in there. Maybe if someone has a lot of skill, they can make it work. But as far as them having killed me, I don't think a lot of these have ever killed me. The halberd, I'm gonna put that one as well here. I see a lot of people using them. What I see a lot of happening with the halberd is people getting stuck on doors. People get stuck on doors, they can't really swing it. It's big, and that's where the fault is in the weapon. It does do a lot of damage though. I'm gonna put the bardiche in D with the hatchet. It has the same problems as the halberd, although I see less people use it than the halberd. I think I've seen warlocks try to use it and stuff, but it's just it doesn't always work neither. I don't see them having too much success with it on my side in the rounds that I be playing, at least. The club, I'm gonna put it definitely in the B tier. I'm gonna put it in, you know, it works. It has armor pen like the war maul. There was a time where a lot of people were running it and they were getting kills with it. I'm not sure if it got nerfed. I don't remember all the patch notes and all the details, but for some reason I've seen them being used less and less. The magic staff is gonna go in the C tier of the magic weapons. It does more damage than the spell book, and it makes you a little bit slower than the crystal ball when you're wielding it. I think it's minus 30 if I remember. I could be wrong, but I know this one's minus 10, minus 15. I think this one's minus 30. It does do more damage. I want to put it up here, but I do not see that many people use it. I see them using it here and there, but not really. Me saying that out loud might make me actually change it and put it to D. I think it might be one of the worst caster weapons that there is, actually. I'm gonna put quarterstaff in C. I see people using it. I have seen people have successful runs with it, but it's definitely not on the par as some of these other weapons that I see that I've listed up here. So I'm gonna leave the quarterstaff here. Castilian dagger, I'm actually mixed about this one because I personally do like this weapon. I don't see a lot of people running it though. I'm gonna put it around here as well. I want to put it B, honestly. I want to put all of these rest in B. Like, these are pretty good. The torch, that's another meme one I'm just gonna put out there. People using the torch, they're just memeing, so I'm gonna put that in E. It's not quite as worse. It's not quite as bad as the ceremonial dagger, or the ceremonial staff. I've seen more, I'm gonna put it this way, I've seen more people use the torch as a weapon than I have seen them use the ceremonial staff. The short sword is not bad. I've seen the short sword get used by the rangers, by slayer fighters, by fighters in general. It's really not a bad weapon. I'm gonna put the stiletto in C just because I think it's a good weapon. I just don't see it being used as much as the other daggers. I think that's about it. They are missing the recurve bow, and I would probably put the recurve bow in A tier. That's a little bit better than the survival bow and not quite as good as the longbow for the rangers. It might even share a spot with the longbow, really. I kind of ranted about a lot of this stuff, and hopefully you guys can agree. We're gonna see what you guys think. Here is my completely biased, somewhat not trying to be biased opinion about the weapons and what I think and how I feel that the weapons are. You guys are probably gonna have a favorite weapon. I'm sure that you guys like one of these weapons that I rated lower way more and you guys want them to be up higher, but this is just me being honest with how I feel like the game is. I feel like me myself being a longsword user, I love the weapon, but I have to be honest, it's not as good because sword and shield fighter just kicks my ass a lot of the time because they see my shots coming. The only really advantage that I have is the riposte. I'm slow. I hit like a rock, but I'm slow, and they can so easily block. I'm sure that the barbarians be running into that, and that's why I put the war maul up here too, because I think the war maul has a lot of impact power, which makes the shields not that much of a problem for them, especially in a group setting. Okay, so I did have some last minute like readjustments with the weapons. So the staff, I did move it up to C, or I kept it in C. The hand crossbow was definitely moved up to B because I forgot that the rogue uses it so much. So it is a pretty good weapon once you think about the rogue. I had just thought about, like, you know, a fighter or a ranger using it at first, but you know, obviously that doesn't make sense. It's the only weapon that the rogue has for range. I don't think bards use them or anything like that, but yep. They do have also some missing weapons. So they have missing the crystal sword, which for attack, I will also probably put that here in B. So this is my crystal sword right here. Right. So they're missing the crystal sword, and they're also missing the recurve bow, which I will put over, if we can get like a brown. Put the recurve bow around here. This is where the recurve is. It kind of has like a different shape there, right, than the survival bow. We got the crystal sword in B. We got the recurve in A with the survival bow. I moved the survival bow from B. I think I had it in C. I had it somewhere really low, but I did move the survival bow up because I was thinking about the bard and everything, and how it's also one of their really good weapons, and you know they'll kick ass with those. I don't. Oh, the Chris dagger. They're missing the Chris dagger. So for the Chris dagger, I'll also probably put that in C because it's a good weapon, right? But here it has like a little like waviness to it. So this is the Chris dagger right here. That's the crystal sword. That's the recurve. I'm trying to think, is there any other weapon that they're missing that I'm over here thinking? Okay, so I went to do my little research. I looked on the wiki, and I did in fact forget one. It's one that a lot of us overlook and that probably nobody used. And if you use it, you're a weirdo, because it's the Warhammer. The Warhammer. I'm pretty sure a lot of us thought like, you know, oh, it's cool they're gonna add another weapon when they added it, but it's completely ass, and absolutely nobody uses that thing. I think the only reason anyone will use it or even have that is because it's a cheap stat stick. It's cheap as hell on the market because nobody wants it. And I think that does sum up all the weapons. Here is my rethought out list of everything, of all the weapons. Let me know what you guys think. Put it down in the comments. W list, L list. I want to know. Don't care if you hurt my feelings. Just go for it.